Red Bull started the 2024 F1 season looking like the out-and-out fastest team on the grid once again, but this year the script has been rewritten. In 2023, their in-season development was on point, keeping the gap to the chasing pack and allowing them to dominate the sport. In 2024, with Adrian Newey gone from the team, their developments have become lackluster, allowing McLaren and Mercedes to catch up. Max Verstappen has now gone 4 races without a race win for the first time since 2020 and is not happy with the team's performance. There are plenty of theories as to why that is, and today I'll check out why people think they may have been using illegal parts, what the team are actually saying, and why Verstappen is dreading the second half of the season. So don't go anywhere. This weekend, F1 will finally return after the ever painfully long summer break. Though there is another 3-weekend gap coming up, so don't get too excited for non-stop F1 for the rest of the season. The 10 races that make up the second half of the year will start with the Dutch Grand Prix. Since the Circuit Zandvoort returned to the F1 calendar in 2021, Max Verstappen has won every installment in front of his home fans. Last season's race was one of the highlights of the year as the changeable weather created chaos on track and allowed Pierre Gasly and Fernando Alonso to pick up a surprise podium finish. While Verstappen's form at this track may be perfect, this year will provide a bigger challenge as he looks for a race win over Lando Norris, which would all but guarantee him a 4th straight driver's title. While he may still be comfortably leading the Drivers' Championship, Verstappen has been struggling in recent races as Red Bull's car has stagnated while those around them have found more performance. The Dutchman has only won 3 of the last 9 events, but he's been able to steadily build his advantage by consistently extracting the maximum from the car. That maximum is no longer first place every weekend though, it's often second, third, or even worse. A surging McLaren and Mercedes team have found improvements with their car, which have made them the fastest 2 teams on the grid now. Various theories have been discussed for Red Bull's apparent regression. Earlier in the year, Adrian Newey admitted they were struggling to extract more performance, having almost perfected their concept for the ground effect F1 car. Others have said that McLaren and Mercedes just have a higher ceiling of performance in their concepts than Red Bull do. However, there is one theory that has gained some traction among fans. F1 pundit and personality Peter Windsor recently claimed that he'd found the reason for Red Bull's dip in performance. His theory is that Red Bull were running a brake system which may have been illegal or on the edge of legality, and that they got found out and the FIA demanded they remove it. Windsor claimed on X that the team had been using cross-brake inertia valves on the rear of their car. For a little explanation, a cross-brake inertia valve would allow the RB20 to deliver different levels of brake pressure to the left and right rear tires. This is useful as it can help the car's ability to rotate into a corner, allowing the car to take more speed into a corner, therefore improving lap time. Windsor does say in his tweet that the use of the system may have been the cause for Red Bull's surprising brake failure in Australia and some of the turning issues that Max Verstappen faced in China. If you remember the Australian Grand Prix, Verstappen had an issue with his right rear brakes, which caused him to retire from the race. At the time, Red Bull said that his brakes got stuck on, ending his race, but Windsor is implying that an error with the cross-brake inertia valve was the cause for the brake to become stuck on. The system would work thanks to a pressure reducer that differentiates the braking force between the inner and outer wheels, using lateral acceleration as the activation element. Essentially, a component within the braking circuit, influenced by the lateral forces that are applied to the car during cornering, regulates the pressure applied to each brake, allowing for greater braking on the inner wheel. While there has been no word from the FIA on the matter, an addition in the most recent set of technical regulations shows that the FIA have become aware that such a system could be used. Normally, that happens because a team has used it, been found out, and the FIA decides that it offers an unfair advantage, so asks the team to remove it and then outlaw it in the regulations. A recent example would be Mercedes' DAS system from 2020. Mercedes weren't punished for using the system, which allowed them to change their wheel alignment throughout a lap, but they were told to remove it and it was subsequently banned. At the F1 Commission meeting before the summer break, an addition was made to the technical regulations which outlawed the use of asymmetrical braking pressures. Article 11.1.2 now says, "The brake system must be designed so that within each circuit, the forces applied to the brake pads are the same magnitude and act as opposing pairs on a given brake disc. Any system or mechanism which can produce systematically or intentionally asymmetric braking torques for a given axle is forbidden." While the circumstantial evidence of a Red Bull decline in performance and a change to the rules may hint at Red Bull running a system which allowed them to control how the brake pressure is split across the rear, it is far from concrete. It is likely that someone was running such a system, which is why the change to the rules has happened, but a number of teams have seen their performance decline since the start of the season. Ferrari and Aston Martin have both lost performance relative to Mercedes and McLaren around the same time as Red Bull did. The Red Bull team themselves has also come out and denied the use of any such system. In reply to Windsor's post on X, Red Bull mechanic Callum Nicholas expressed his frustration and denied that the team had been using the system. He believes some are just looking for a conspiracy theory that doesn't exist. Instead, McLaren and Mercedes have simply put in the work and found solutions. Actually, the only reason I care about this stuff is because really, people should just be giving the other teams the credit they deserve for putting in the work and catching up. Nicholas wrote, "Not everything has to be some big conspiracy." Red Bull technical director Pierre Wash has instead offered a different reason as to why the team's performance has declined. He says that the team may have hit the ceiling with the development of its F1 car, though suggested the overall limit of the regulations has not been reached. Asked in an interview with Motorsport.com whether the RB20 had delivered as he and the team expected pre-season, Wash replied, "I would say not really. We improved compared to last year without doubt, but we didn't deliver what we expected in some areas. Especially in the high-speed corners, we expected a little bit more than what we have." When asked for why he thought they'd under-delivered on their expected performance, he said, "We're using quite an old wind tunnel, and it can also be linked to the reduced capacity due to our position in the championship, and maybe also the fact that this is the third year with this type of regulation." The team believes that they may have hit the limit of performance that can be found by just refining and improving on the ideas that they have at the moment. They think that the only way to find more performance now will be to rework certain parts, or potentially the entire car, to try and find new development pathways. Helmut Marko recently said that while the team are very aware of the situation they're in, trying to find a solution is not easy. "I don't think that the big solution will come in Zandvoort. We are brainstorming intensively and have various ideas, but I can't say yet what we'll implement and how." With no solution coming imminently for Red Bull, Max Verstappen has admitted that he's not looking forward to the second half of the season. He expects McLaren and Mercedes to be faster than Red Bull once the season resumes, following the summer break with the Dutch Grand Prix this weekend. "In the beginning, we could really say that it was track-specific, but I think it's clear now that no matter what track we go to, we have a hard time everywhere," he said. "I would say that we have not been the fastest in the last few races. Yes, it's a bit harder now. The others are doing a good job of improving performance of their car, but of course, we have to point out that we are still leading the constructors' standings. It's not that bad, but we have to try to improve the performance of the car so that we can try to fight back and set the pace again." Red Bull may lead the Constructors' Championship at the moment, but that lead is very slim. 42 points separate them from McLaren, who will be optimistic about their chances to close that gap over the next 3 or 4 races. Do you think Red Bull would have found more performance over the summer break? And do you believe Peter Windsor's claim that Red Bull were using an illegal brake system? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and until next time, drive safe and bye for now.